This is Rummy's Corner. Coming up on May 14th, in a bout that will be broadcast on Showtime, the unified IBF WBC WBA Super Duper Junior Middleweight Champion Jermell Charlo will square off in a rematch against WBO Junior Middleweight Champion Brian Castano. Their first bout ended in a draw, so this will be the second time these two will have battled for the undisputed crown at 154. Naturally, I believe their first encounter gives us a lot of clues about what each champion wants to try and do. As a general rule, I tend to favor the better overall boxer in rematches. And in my opinion, Charlo has the much more rounded skill set. So in theory, I believe Charlo has a lot more room for improvement, perhaps to the point where he can win more easily than most expect. We have evidence of Charlo performing better in a rematch with the Tony Harrison situation, where he avenged his lone career loss. Normally, these signs suggest to me that Charlo should be favored in the rematch. However, with the competitive nature of their first bout, and the fact that Castano's strengths seem to match up well against Charlo, I'm expecting another close and competitive battle where another draw might be a strong possibility. The first time they fought, the most important determining factor was ring location. When they were fighting at or near center ring, Charlo was almost always doing better work. But whenever Charlo started slowly gravitating nearer to the ropes, Castano was doing better work. Castano was generally cutting off the ring well, slowly pressing forward and making Charlo back up incrementally. Castano would frequently pounce whenever Charlo was near but not quite touching the ropes, and this sometimes backed Charlo into the ropes where the two traded. Charlo is still generally boxing well as he neared the edges, up until Castano would attack at that specific location where he could effectively lunge. Sometimes Charlo would quickly pivot and maneuver out of harm's way, but Castano was usually inflicting some kind of damage up and down. At times, Charlo was still boxing effectively off the ropes. Indeed, he had some of his best moments when he was fighting off the ropes. First in round 2, and especially in round 10. And in round 10, Charlo hurt Castano and forced him into fighting defensively, where he was trying to box and move and stay out of harm's way. But as a general rule, Castano was otherwise usually able to minimize Charlo's effectiveness whenever he had him up near the ropes. I think one of the big keys for Charlo is to take a page out of the Emmanuel Vladimir playbook, where he needs to effectively command center ring. Beyond that, feinting. Charlo doesn't feint a whole lot, and I believe if he did, he'd be far more effective, because he is actually very good at reading his opponent and creating openings for his power. He's always studiously searching, so the addition of feinting into his repertoire against Castano will be especially beneficial if he can start reading Castano's reactions to his feints. But he really needs to sell and disguise them well. If he can get Castano to start biting on them, then he will have an easier time commanding center ring. I think the key for Castano is that he needs to do everything in his power to try and lull Charlo into the same type of fight they had last time. Charlo also has good footwork, so Castano will want to cut off the ring to persuade him towards the edges. Castano closes the gap effectively whenever he has Charlo near the ropes, but he closes it more slowly and incrementally when Charlo is center ring. Castano's best weapon in the center was to try and sneak in a body shot, and he got in a few good ones from this location. Bottom line, there were less fireworks at mid-ring. Charlo wants to stay in the center and not fall into getting near the ropes where Castano launched his attacks with greater success. I think this is a toss-up that will once again be close and competitive, but I think Castano absolutely needs the fight ebb and flow to unfold like the last time. Short of that, I think Castano is going to have some problems if Charlo can make the necessary adjustments. If Charlo can command center ring and keep the bulk of the action there, he could maybe even win easily on points. And if he can hurt Castano earlier in the fight and do it from mid-range rather than from off or near the ropes, he can score a knockout as well. For my official prediction, I simply do believe Charlo has more room for improvement. But if Castano brings his A game, I think the clash of styles will once again inherently prove challenging for Charlo. At the end of the day, I think Charlo will effectively make enough adjustments that he will earn a decision victory over the distance. But what the hell do I know? Whatever happens, I am definitely looking forward to it, and may the best man win on that night. Assuming we have a winner this time rather than a draw, it will be the first undisputed junior middleweight champion since Winky Wright, and it will likewise be the first undisputed champion at 154 during the modern four-belt era. Good luck to both. So who do you think will win? Please share your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed, and have a wonderful night. This is Rummy's Corner.